order the budget work session of Wednesday, April 17th, 2024 at 2 o'clock in Cayce City Hall Chambers. Thank you to those of you who are with us in person. Thank you so much for staff. We love being with y'all. We're thankful for y'all being here today. It's one of our favorite times of the year. So we're excited for y'all to come up. We hope that you're not nervous because we don't want you to be. We're here to support you and I'm thankful to have the time together. Thankful to all of you who are joining us online. I think we hit over 300 at our last council meeting, so that's awesome. The press and public have been notified according to the Freedom of Information Act.
Yes, Mayor.
I believe people are on vacation today.
Yes, ma'am. Pray with me, please. God, thank you so much for this beautiful day, and thank you so much for allowing us all to be citizens of Cayce or work in the city of Cayce. Please bless our first responders as they go out and keep our community safe. Thank you so much for the mayor and council, and just always allow us to work as a team and allow the world to see the love that the city of Cayce has for each other. And just please allow us to balance this budget. In the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join us for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have discussion of proposed fiscal year 2024-2025 general fund budget.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor, members of council. You said it's one of your favorite times of year. It's mine too. It's one of my favorite meetings, I get to say the least. And as usual, your staff has prepared their proposed budgets for you. They'll go through the things that they need. I rarely tell them what not to present to you. I want you all to get a full flavor of everything that they feel they want and need. That need may be in the upcoming year. They may be able to wait a year or two. That's what we'll do to balance. But I don't want you to ever be blindsided in future years about something we say we urgently need because you've never heard about it before. So we're way out of budget. We know that. So appreciate the prayer there, Councilor Thomas, but not unusual for this time of year. So your directors are here to give you their proposed budgets. We'll dive a little bit too into maybe the second round of some information we started back in February to give you a flavor of what the millage would look like if that would be something you would want to entertain. We have no recommendations today. We're just going to let you know what a snapshot of what that looks like. A little bit of information on our sanitation fees as well. So you have a really good, clear understanding of options you have before you as you move forward into what is really a very difficult budget year for us. You got a flavor of that also from the utility work session, and general fund is not incredibly different. So with that, I'll turn it over to Deputy City Manager.
And I'll turn it over to Kelly.
Okay.
Good afternoon. We'll start with everybody's favorite topic, revenues. So preliminary revenues have been put in for the 2024-2025 budget. I'm going to do this in a clockwise order, and some of that font is a little bit small, so I'll try to help you through it. Property taxes right now are accounting for about 29.25% of total revenues. Business licenses and permitting is accounting for about 14%. Franchise fees is approximately 16%. Accommodation and hospitality contributions are 8.5%. Interest income is a little under 1%. Charges for services, we talked about this in February. Those are going to be your sanitation fees, what we charge for an actual service in the city. Those are 8.3%. Grants and other is a very miscellaneous bucket that doesn't kind of fall into any general category. That's making up about 21.82%, and then the court fines and forfeitures will be about 1.15%. For the 2024-2025 millage, that is not coming out easily. We just wanted to kind of give you a breakdown of what it looks like. Current millage right now in Cayce is 58.1 mils. With the recent assessment data that we've received from Lexington County, the value of 1 mil in Cayce is $67,914.18. We are allowed by statute to have a millage increase limitation. We have two pieces to that. One is the inflation component, which we get from the Revenue and Fiscal Affairs Department office. That is 4.12%, which equates to about 2.394 mils. Population is the other part of that component that is not going to be available to us until May. So as it stands right now, all the documentation that we're going to show you is only going to show you inflation. We also are allowed to do a 3-year look back, which is basically looking back at what we were allowed to do for the past 3 years and using anything that we have not already used. What that equates to is from 2022, 2023, there are unused millage increase of 1.306 mils, and for 2024, 4.648 mils. Those three combined will give you a total of what you are capped at limiting your increase to of 8.348 mils. Just to show you kind of a side-by-side comparison, what this does in two pieces. So the left-hand side is going to be the impact to the citizens when you increase millage, and the right side is going to be the impact to Cayce when you increase millage. So I just kind of threw 1 mil all the way to your cap at 8.348 mils, and you can see what that does to a 4% home per $100,000 of value, and a 6% home per $100,000 of value, and that would be an annual increase. And then on the right side, that same structure, per the number of mills, if you choose to do so, how much revenue that would generate for the city of Cayce. Any questions? It's a lot of data, I know. The general fund does have budget challenges like we do seemingly ever since COVID every year. So retirement increase, we are anticipating another 1% to go up for retirement. Health insurance, they've already dictated their employer portion increase, and that is 11.8%. That's after a 6% increase in 2023 and a 3.7% increase in 2024. We are still seeing a lot of open positions. We are competing with fellow jurisdictions and the private sector for jobs. And we are seeing, because of those unfilled positions, we are seeing increases in overtime. We are still having inflation pricing issues. Things are costing a lot more than they used to. And it's putting a strain on our budget. The dollar doesn't go as far as it used to several years ago. We are seeing the need, an increased need for capital purchases. We have, because of the inflation component, some capital has been put off. So the need for that increases more and more every single year. Supply chain delays are still an issue. It does seem to be coming down, but they are still a problem. Changing customer expectations. You'll see more people who don't want to come in. They want to do everything online. They want to do everything mobile app friendly. All these things are just things that we have to tackle on a daily basis. You also have changing technologies and those effects on critical infrastructure. Jamie, when he gets to the IT budget, will definitely dive into this some more. But we are seeing that same strain on us trying to give those new softwares and stuff for our citizens. We're needing more and more on our side to be able to hold that kind of data. Space limitations at City Hall, we are at max capacity, what it feels like. And that's just something that is, you'll see later on down the road, something that the city does have to look at eventually in the future. With that, I now get to turn it over.
Thomas.
Thank you so much, Kelly.
Thank you.
Requested budget administration, so.
What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to
Technology
do,
bonds?
yep. Administration, we're looking at what Kelly was going off of, our space at our municipal complex. We felt like, well, we know we used every bit of space that we have now. We're looking at off-site stuff, but we know eventually we're going to have to do a study. And that study will come in and we'll do an RFP for one. It's estimated at $50,000, but they'll come in and do a space allocation on for us and present possible pricing too. So, Prox Card Security Project Phase 2. So we've done City Hall, all phases of City Hall. And those are those little cards that we're carrying around that we can beep into. We've also incorporated most of the utility side too, so we can use one card to access everything. We don't have it on the garage yet, the Parks and Sanitation Building, or Public Works, and the museum, and those are prices set forth. Robert Denny gets the award this year for the least wanting. So public buildings, always he's requesting is a tool set. He's happy. He's great. So, and then court. You can come up here. I was just getting everybody stacked up, ready to go. You're fine. Let's go.
Hello. The two main things that we're asking for is, at this point in time, my judge does not have a place. So when court days come around, we have court on Tuesday mornings and Thursday afternoons, and we have it in the budget for extra court days for jury trial timeframes and everything like that. So as I'm pretty sure everybody knows, our court is pretty small. It only has a seating of 49. There is no place for the judge to go other than the jury room. And then when we have jury trials, he can't go into the jury room because the jury must sit in the jury trials. When we have an inmate that is brought for court by the police department, they have to keep them somewhere separated from the general public, so they go in the jury room, and then my judge ends up in a chair in the hallway. Right now, our records are stored in one of the old jail cells. We are one of the last jail cells on that front hallway of the building, and to redo that, it would cost approximately $10,000. There's $3,000 to change it from a jail cell, remove the old, there's actually still the gate and everything in there to remove that, and then to turn the cinder block walls into sheetrock and give them some carpet and everything like that. And that would also give a place for my assistant Justin to use when the courtroom is in use for other things. We try and be as helpful with the public as possible. Right now, this coming Friday, I have Palmetto Lifeline is using the courtroom for an animal control with law enforcement class. And then next Friday, there is a homeschool academy that is going to be using it for a mock trial. So we try and do that as much as possible, but Justin Wong is my assistant. His desk is in the courtroom. That is his office when court is not in session. So he will have to be moved out of there, and I really don't have any place to put him. So he'll end up filing and probably going home with some busy work of alphabetizing and that kind of thing. So there's no place for him to stay on site when the courtroom is in use for other functions, and we are requested of that on a decently regular basis for other agencies, as well as the police department needing to use the courtroom. So to be able to redo what we have now for an office that would be a judge's office, as well as Justin's when he has to be leaving from the courtroom, would be incredibly helpful. The other big thing for capital for me is my office. My furniture is falling apart. It was put together by the previous clerk of court and the police officer that was on light duty, and they did not know what they were doing. So when I go to pull a drawer out, the entire wall of my desk falls off. So I can't pull that drawer out. So there's a bookcase behind me that has been reinforced 3 times by one of the police officers, and it still sways back and forth. So I would really appreciate some new furniture so nothing falls on anybody. Otherwise, our general budget, I'm still asking for the $12,000. I know I came to y'all last year saying that the new software would possibly be a smaller cost monthly. Unfortunately, because the software charges the defendants for credit card use. They don't charge us, they charge defendants, and that was supposed to be if we had enough traffic in that they would lower our monthly fee. Unfortunately, we do not have enough traffic because it is an incredibly exorbitant amount. For someone who pays a $1,087.50 bill, it adds $40 to that for them to be able to pay it with a credit or debit card. So, and that's the only option we have at this point in time, because we have the 2 judges and neither one of them are full-time. They were not willing to accept financial responsibility, so we were not able to enter into the CMS system, which is the court management system for the state. We ended up having to go with a private entity, which is CJT, and CJT, that's the only thing they offer to process their payments, is a BPay company that is part of their business, so we don't have any other options. So I'm gonna need to stay at that $12,000. It's gonna be $1,000 monthly. We're not generating enough revenue for them to lower our bill. Just some numbers. Last year, we adjudicated approximately 4,656 citations. 643 warrants were issued. We had 10 jury trials. There were 5 trials in absentia. They were all found guilty and bench warrants were issued. 1 was guilty by the jury who was present. 2 entered into a plea deal at the beginning of the jury trial. 1 paid prior to the jury trial and forfeited. 1 entered into the pretrial intervention program. And 1 is on interlocutory appeal with the state Supreme Court. He has 2 appeals with us because he has 2 separate jury trials. We currently have 633 tickets written as of yesterday's date, 175 warrants issued as of yesterday's date. We have 38 pending pretrials, 40 pending jury strike trials, and 67 pending preliminary hearings. We are behind at this point in time because we have not been able to hire a prosecutor. We had interest from a couple people stemming from last year when we lost our prosecutor, Mr. Sean Graham. He became an assistant judge, an associate judge with Lexington Municipal, and he did his due diligence and requested a opinion from the AG, and the AG said that he could not be a municipal judge and a city prosecutor in the same county. So he had to leave, and that left us with David Allen. David Allen has a robust family practice that he has inherited from his father, and he does not have the time to be here as much as I would like. I asked him for 8 court dates recently. He gave me 4 and then took 2 back. So we are behind. We do have someone who is incredibly interested at this point in time, and I hope to have him presented to the council sometime in May. I have a meeting with him tomorrow, and he's already spoken. He's already spoken to Jim and Mr. Crow. So I'm hoping that we can get started and get some things on the schedule at that point in time. I think that's it. Otherwise, my budget is pretty much just what it is every year. Postage, mailing out a lot of stuff, office supplies. We use a lot of paper, a lot of ink, and ink has gone up. My ink used to be $70-something. It's now $150. So I'm trying my best to steward my budget as best as I possibly can, but there are some constraints.
We do a good job.
Yes, thank you. Can I ask one quick question?
Yes, ma'am.
You said he for the judge, but that office would be for, you have 2 judges?
Yes, he and her. I have 2 judges. So it would just be for on the days that they come in. Like today, I had to call both of them and try and track one down to get a warrant signed for the police department because they didn't have anybody at the magistrate's office, which is what the police department usually relies on. But Judge Boberts was able to come in, so she was able to come in, but she had to sit and wait in the hallway to be able to sign it because I had no place else to put her. So if there was chambers, she could sit in chambers and do what she needed to do while she was waiting for the officer to get here because the officer had to come from a call on the road. So she just had to sit there and wait, and I didn't have a place to put her because I was taking payment, and Justin was also doing something. So we needed our desks.
Well, let's take a step back and introduce her to Councilmember Thomas, who I don't think has met Rachel. She is our clerk of court.
I apologize. I am Rachel Stuckey. I am the clerk of court.
And her assistant is Justin.
I met Justin. Justin's a rock star. Thank you for what you do for our city. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry about that.
Thomas.
Okay, basically my basic budget is going to be a little bit up on certain items as far as the equipment operating costs and stuff like that, but my capital is what we're going to focus on that I'm asking for. All right, the first thing is it's going to be the sweeper clean out area where you could dump and clean out the sweeper. The problem that we having in order to you have to, once you use the sweeper, you have to dump it out, and you got to go down to the wastewater plant. By the time you go down there, dump it out, and get everything cleaned out, and then get back started, your part of your day gone. You probably get one, maybe another half a dump, and it's not doing any good. We got to have a regular area to clean this thing out to keep it going, in order for it to, help the city out. And what I'm proposing is the area that the city owned, by Albert owned. They got about 3 acres over there. It is right close to the city, and it's an area where we could put a concrete pad. We could run water to it, and that's what it would be for the sweeper to just dump out, and that's about the center of everywhere that we goes, except for maybe Hunter's Mill. But there would be a whole lot more better on the operator and everything, getting at least 2 to 3 loads a day and doing more with the sweep, that's why we got it, to operate, to run it.
Allows you to recycle the sand and the dirt too, right?
We use that. We use that, the sand, the dirt, the gravel that it pick up. We use that for hose and whatever. The Parks Department use it. And what it is, and it's nothing else that's being done there except for, cleaning out the inside of the sweeper, not washing, anything. So it's a whole lot better situation if we could get it done like that. This whole thing, what we figured and everything, we're gonna run about $9,000. And that would give a central part for the sweeper, to keep on operating. All right, the next thing would be a sweeper driver that could, spend, it's a truck driver 2 position, and he could spend his full time with the sweeper. When the sweeper is out there, he could be one driver that can take care of it. And, I also got training, in the budget for, that person too. But this equipment need to be ran, and we can't get ahead with this sweeper and the cost of it and everything unless we do put it out there on the road and keep it going. We need to run it. And we haven't got a full-time driver. Myself and one more is the only 2 people, that's out there. And that's why, you don't see it much done that we could get done. I asked for it last year, and then I know the money wasn't there and everything, but it's fine, and we don't mind running it, but we got other things that we need to do to it for, keeping everything else going on all the routes and stuff.
And that came up last year. We knew we were gonna reuse our folks to get it going and understanding how it works, but they know they can use it a lot more better now and a lot more frequently. I mean, they weren't sure what the routes would look like after some time, so it would be beneficial to have a dedicated person to that, but it's continuing to be used, and it's used a lot. It would just be used more.
How many brooms did you go through already?
It'd been a lot.
Yeah, it's using it a lot.
Yeah, and we still haven't caught up with everything that we need to be doing with it because we can't get it out there as much as we wanted to. Last but not least is our road cart situation. And I got a picture, you can pass it over to them. Those right there is just some examples that I took some pictures the other day of how bad they really are getting, and those are not the worst one. I went around in the avenues and went on the Broadacre area and took pictures. And those right there, even with we got one on truck that can, dump those types right there, but driving those right there, they from 2008. And it's just nothing left there. The plastic, the metal, everything gone. And they don't make those no more. I can't get any more parts, the wheels, the metal, I can't, tops. Just run completely out. I may have 30 left that I can give out to somebody calling in to say that, we need another road car. And I propose to get 2 truckloads, which would be a little bit over 1,000 and probably 1,025, and that would keep us going. And that would be the U-type of road cart that any trucks could dump. Those right there, they don't make the mold for them no more. You can't get the parts, so I can't do anything about them. We've been bringing them in. We've been putting wheels and stuff off of one onto another, but we don't ran out of the old ones now. So everything, and I think each and every one of you know about them because you see them in your neighborhoods almost every day. They are gone. The new ones we got, which would be the ones that I propose to get, are the one that go with any kind of dumping truck or whatever. You don't have to worry about. And they would last us a pretty good while. And that's about it, unless you got some questions.
So these new road carts, will we replace all the city's new old ones, or we just wait till they break and then you replace
This
them?
is a big start.
Okay.
Yeah, that won't.
25%?
That won't even, attempt to start, replace them all. But it's just that many out there. We've been had these ever since 2008, And I was, once the company went under or whatever, and, they don't make them no more, period. I done search everywhere, just to try to get parts. And that's it.
Get straight on these roll calls now. How many roll cars would we need in this city to meet the current loading ability of our equipment?
Okay,
How many do we have and how many we 4,000, give or take, would be our total in the city, we said?
I would say so.
Okay, of those 4,000 that are out there, how many of them meet your current satisfaction?
The ones that we got now are the ones that the Euro model ones, I believe that well, like you got for the recycling. Those are the same roll carts with different colored tops. Now, we had probably within, I would say at least 3,500, we would, everybody would have a youth roll cart. That's not meaning, that we are lacking now.
And this would be a little over 1,000.
Yes.
Okay.
And they will help out, as the residents, wear them out and keep on going. And we got some good ones out there because some residents, even though it's been 2008, they done took care of. But the majority of them, they are gone downhill.
So the new one would not have that little metal, the two little metal bars on them?
It would just have that one metal
Just
in,
one.
yeah, in the middle. It would look just like the recycling roll cart that you got now.
Because mine, it looks like sometimes it's squeezed.
Yeah, now that is,
That's the not good one, correct?
Yeah.
That's one we need to replace.
and see on those right there, after so many years and everything, even with the one-on truck, doing yours at one, at a certain time, that metal gives way. It's so light now, it's gone. Now, on your other one, your recycling, no problem.
So they don't need to all be like that, just
Yes,
correct.
yes.
Color making it. Okay, my second question, Thomas, thank you, is the street sweeper in a typical 40-hour week, how many hours is that thing on the road, give or take?
If we had a driver, it's,
No, sir, I'm talking about.
right now,
yes.
it's not, hadn't been on the hour. It may be, sometime we go out, probably, maybe, 3 times a month.
Okay.
If the weather, let it go out.
But this driver you're proposing.
We want to have him
One
out.
job, as they say, and that's
We
to run that
want
street
to
sweeper.
have him out there at least, 4 times a week.
Perfect, thank you.
That's what, I want it to run.
Perfect, thank you. Well, the equipment, and our normal maintenance, I mean, that's a lot of usage. So brushes and mechanicals, our normal maintenance folks.
Yeah, they can take care of that.
Perfect, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Going ahead and still keeping with the sanitation, so this is the fees that Kelly put together. Kelly McMullen put together for us, and as long as municipalities and counties charge a sanitation fee and they post that fee is where we're getting this information from. So this is kind of where the city sits with some of the jurisdictions around the state and Lexington County. And you got a monthly cost and a yearly cost. With that goes into our next slide is where we sit right now as of 23-24, the adopted budget of Thomas's $1.3 million budget. Number of customers is 4,785. You can see the annual cost and the monthly cost. The yearly revenues from those fees and the percent of budget coverage from those fees. So we actually use 9.44 mils of the city's millage to budget our sanitation department. Next year's budget, Thomas is requesting 1.5, still the same amount of customers estimated. You have an annual cost, a monthly cost, and then yearly revenues from the fees, which would only cover 49.62% of the budget. So we'd have to use almost 11.5 mils to cover that 1.5 million. If you're looking at to have sanitation cover its costs, from fees. This would be the next chart to the right. Whether if we took the same budget, 24-25, at the 1.5 million, we did the annual cost, it would cost $27.21 per month, and that would cover 100% of that budget from fees. We're not requesting that, we're just showing you what those numbers would be.
But that monthly cost is still lower than.
And we can back that slide up too.
So lower than the highest 5 on this list.
And that's assuming no increases on any of those as well. For instance, I know quite a few are considering fee increases. That's current fee increases.
And Bill? Yep.
Thank you.
Back that up.
Jim, I'm sure you'll probably have to go back and look this up. I'm curious what year we started charging fees to augment the sanitation service.
I hazard probably from the beginning.
No, it was within in the taxes to begin
Oh,
with.
yeah,
And
kind
then-
of like West Columbia.
And then years ago, it was $2, and then it went to something
Right.
else. But years ago, and at that time, the city recognized that we were asking the citizens to augment.
Enterprise fund, right, okay.
I'm just curious how many years ago that's been.
Let's find that out. Edmonds allows us to go back to 2015.
15.
Yeah, okay.
It's really-
After that, before that, we're hand digging, so.
I could find it at the council meeting. I remember when we did it. I can't remember
Yeah,
when it was.
I do. Okay.
Sometimes it doesn't seem that long ago, but it's probably been a while, right, Mr. Crump?
Quite a while. I don't,
Been a while. Thomas, maybe.
Bill, you're up too?
Bill. Let him Yeah. 750. 20.
Parks?
Parks. Good afternoon. Like I said, what we're requesting is, for this, like I said, most of our line items, you'll see a little adjustment just for the cost of doing business. Our biggest thing is gonna be, as far as our travel expense and our phone expense, or what you call it, see, travel part? No. Let me go with my notes here. Okay. Like I say, our contract service, we increased just a small amount because, like I say, more and more trees are falling unexpectedly. Well, like I say, our city has an aging canopy. A lot of trees are quite tall and everything, and a lot of our trees in the city are mature. So as that happens, they're weakened and they fall unexpectedly, and that cost of removing them and having a troop that comes in and do emergency removal kind of costs us a little bit more. So that service cost is just increased a little bit, about $500. And also, we're looking at putting together a white page to try to get something that's down the line in the future, though, to have one on retainer or something like that. But that's something we're working on. Like I said, the employee training 264, we increased because we're gonna try to get a in-house small engine repair guy. One of the guys that worked with us moved to another department, and right now I have a very young department, and we got to do a whole lot of training. So we're trying to get everybody up to snuff. Like I say, I got my course right now is probably 5 years old. With most of our employees, I think I got about 3 or 4 employees that got only got 3 employees got 10 years or more in the department, so including myself. So we got a lot of training to do to get our department up to snuff. Got a lot of good people. They work real hard. They just need a lot of training. 271, our specialized department. That one's a large increase. About a year and a half ago, Dominion removed somewhere close to 50, 60 trees along 12th Street Extension. And we are in the process of coming up with a plan to replace those trees. And the cost of that is, like I said, close to 150 pounds. $10.50 a plant, and then another, which is $15.75, and another $700 of material for soil. add soil augmentation and stuff and make sure those plants grow well. And that's just to replant the plants out on 12th Street Extension. Also, we're asking for 2 tractor trailer loads of playground mulch and mulch for our flower beds. Like just to keep all that stuff up to code and keep our beds looking well, keep them beautified. Like I said, with the addition of the bed out on Knox Abbott and the ones that we're gonna have out on 12th Street at Extension and other beds around City Hall, we just need to make sure we keep them like I tell my guys. Our department is like, hate to put it like this, it's like what you got your first day. We the ones that impress you when you come into the city. So, and that's what we try to impress. When people come into our city, it's like our front door, so we want to make sure we impress them coming in. And if I can stress that to our employees and make sure we show that when people come into the city, we'll be doing our job. So, I said, also, like I said, the tractor trailer mulch playground with child, that's $3,500 per tractor trailer. And that's $271 specialized trip. The capital items. Here we go. Capital items we're asking for is like I said, replacement of my pickup truck. Like I said, we didn't replace one last year. But we lost a truck doing this year. We didn't replace it because we didn't have the employees to use it, but we do have the employees now, so we need to replace one truck. We'll walk one down, and that truck will go into the system, and we'll be adding another truck. Also asking for another groundskeeper one. We added a project position because we do a lot of our repairs in-house, and it comes to a point like the Riverwalk, installation of the bike rack and stuff like that. We normally pull people from crews to do that. So now we got a guy dedicated to do that, and we got one guy helping them. So we pulled away from one of the crews, and that crew runs short now. So we want to replace that groundskeeper to fill that crew again. So they'll take away that stress, and like I said, to kind of get them more efficient. The power broom is basically for the Riverwalk, the parking lots and everything. When we had 4 floods at the beginning of the year. It basically takes us about 8 guys a day down there with the equipment and the small broom we have. Like I say, every day we spend down there with that crew is $4,000. That's basically what it costs us per day with that crew cleaning the Riverwalk after a flood. So the 4 episodes that we had already, and each episode takes anywhere from 2 to 3 days to clean up, depending on how bad the flood was. If it floods the whole entire Riverwalk, it's gonna take us anywhere from 3 to 4 days to clean the whole entire Riverwalk, because Timberland Trail really don't get that bad, but the rest of it does. If it, like say, the last one we had, it flooded the whole entire Riverwalk. The other 2 just phases 1 and 2. But there again, with that smaller broom, it takes us 1 to 2 days to get down there. If we had a larger power broom that can cover the whole walk and clean it a whole lot more efficient, we can get down there, and that costs us $34,500. And like I said, that piece of equipment can be used to also help us on the street sweeping. Some of the places where there's really heavy debris, we can get out in front of the street sweeper and move that stuff either out of the way or move it to where he can easily handle it. Because some places, even though we're going over with the street sweeper, the soil is so compact. And when also if we have any kind of spillage of rock, that DOT don't get out there on time, or if some utilities get out there and they have a a major repair they have to do, they can use that piece of equipment also to move the debris to the side of the road. So it'd be a multi-department piece of equipment, but mainly for us at the Riverwalk and for us with our parking lots and everything like that. So the other one is my aerial lift. My aerial lift is one we have is the first gen aerial lift. It gets up 62 feet. The only drawback with it moves 1.1 miles per hour. I mean, that's it takes us 30 minutes to get from there to the parking lot, about 45 minutes to get to the bottom of the hill.
The hourly rate to get it from the top of the hill down here is pretty good.
And it beeps the whole time.
So, well, like I said, the one with, we were supposed to get another one for, $125,000. Be a whole lot quicker, rough terrain, we can get into more places. Like I said, they're again, reach at least 60 feet. So we handle most of the trees that we're comfortable handling. Anything higher than that, we'll contract out. Because at that time, that's basically the experience level that our employees have. Anything higher than that, you basically want to get a professional in there. Because anytime you deal with a canopy over 100 feet, you're talking about a real danger to people that not trained to do that every day.
Christmas lights. Christmas lights.
Christmas lights, that is true. That's our major thing to say, because we rent one twice a year to either take them up and put them down. Luckily this year our city manager let us leave the ones up in the magnolia tree, because when we took them down last year, they listened to that for about 2.5 days. Every time we moved the bucket, it beeped. So we heard about it. But there again, but the Christmas lights on that, and also, like I say, we are starting to light up other places like Ginyard Park, the Art Lot, and so we have, and it's also could be used at the wastewater plant, and because they have lights down there that's a little bit over 40 feet tall, and a lot of times they end up renting a piece of equipment for a day or something. So with that piece of equipment on hand, it'd be great to have in-house. So, the pressure washer we have right now is a little bit over 20 years old. It's a Frankenstein. It has been replaced 4 or 5 times. Parts have been either fabricated or put back on it. It's still on the same trailer, so it's about 20-year-old pressure washer that we have. We need to basically get another one, and also like I said, it'll help us out down the riverwalk, because that's the other thing. On the riverwalk, when it does flood, we have to pressure wash the bridges, the benches and everything, because that broom and everything does throw mud to the side like it's supposed to get it off the trail, but it covers up some of our benches and tables and everything like that. So we have to go back and pressure wash it in on some of the wood structures and the bridges. We have to pressure wash those. I think the other increase you're gonna have is none. The 386, which is our stuff under $5,000, and that there is we asking for a striper, because we have in that alliance what is it, a paint striping machine. We have inherited the boat landing. We got the parking lot around City Hall, the parking lots in our in our parks, and also like I say for events and stuff like that. That's $5,000. That's $4,000, and that's a decent piece of equipment. It also has a detachable one to help us with graffiti removal, and or like I said, if we can't pressure wash it off, we can cover it up. And like I tell you, a lot of times down the road walk, that's one of the problems that we have with graffiti, and or sometimes in areas where we see stuff that we can't readily get to with our pressure washer. If we got to coat it real quickly, we can do that with that striping machine, because they have a detachable one that you use as a sprayer. Other than that, everything's basically normal.
James, question. What line item is it for like new park equipment?
New park equipment?
Yes, sir.
That will fall under our that 386, and that's the weed eaters and chainsaws.
Yes, sir.
And I said that's we put that in there, and then we have our specialized item that we, cause that's the only, and we got $7,000 in that, and that's basically that we buy 1 or 2 line trimmers or chainsaw needed during the year. But if we need to buy more than that, we put it in 386.
So that, just curious, does that also include like new swing sets and stuff like
No.
Okay.
That kind of stuff there, we normally, we bring up when we're gonna have to do, if we go through hospitality tax or
Okay,
through
so-
grants.
Yes, sir. So just curious, how many of our parks, or if you can name what park it is, have ADA appliant playground equipment?
All our parks are our ADA appliance swings and everything. Only ones that the county parks are the
Yes,
ones that all our parks, if they're not ADA compliant, we remove them.
Okay, perfect.
I say, that's the easy way to do it. That way you ain't got to worry about that. Our biggest problem is the surfaces that they're on. That's why we always asking for playground mulch and everything to make sure we got that 46 inches of soft material
Yes, sir.
for them to either fall on or that covers the structure of where the concrete goes into the ground and stuff like that.
Okay, thank you, thank you. sir. Thank you.
That's on also. I think the only part that some of the parts only have one swing in them, and that we removed any swing that wasn't ADA compliant. So
Okay.
that's why they only have two swings in them.
Perfect, thank you so much, thank you.
Introduce you to Bill Clark, he's our fleet manager. In your packets, he provided you with a vehicle list, the current vehicle list at the end, at the back. In those, as we implement the software program, we're able to capture the vehicles, but the update mileage is going to be a little bit off, so it's programming out to the next service on the mileage. And as people update their key cards and get gas in our system, it'll slowly update that software package. So that's been provided, that he provided you. Bill, go ahead.
Well, as he said, I'm Bill. How y'all doing? Pretty much, I thank y'all for the new software. It's working like a dream. It's a lot easier, a lot faster for the mechanic. Spends less time in his computer. But a couple of things that we did. I'm in desperate need of a printer. Every time I turn around, my printer's going down. I have to get IT to come back and go play with it for a little bit, get it back working for the time being. Sometimes it won't print, sometimes it does. And I print a lot. So I am asking for that. I did get the pricing through IT for $475 for the printer, which ain't much at all. The other thing I'm asking for is for travel expense. There's a class in Waco, Texas. I went to it last year. It's on the street sweeper. It is a fabulous class. The company that builds it actually puts the class on for free. The only thing we have to pay for is travel and lodging. And it's about $1,000 to $1,250 depending on the price increase between last time I went. But it's a very good class. You're there for 4 days.
What can you accomplish when you complete that class?
Pretty much anything on that piece of equipment. And they go through every inch of that street sweeper, from the beginning from the front bumper all the way to the back. It covers everything. It's good for the mechanic and also the operators, because it covers stuff that the operator needs to know when he's out on the road, and it covers stuff that the mechanic needs to know when it comes in for service, because that thing has to be adjusted just right in order for it to work properly. So I am asking for $2,500 for travel expense to send two of my diesel mechanics up, not at the same time, but at different times, because that class is just phenomenal. The only other thing, I've got cell phones. We have an issue with cell phones apparently, because I want to send somebody to go pick up parts or go on a road call, and the person I want to send, their cell phone's not working because it's been turned off or whatever. So I need a cell phone for a man to go on road calls. That way I have a way to communicate with him and he's got a way to communicate with me. And then I'm also asking for another cell phone for my lead tech, which is the guy that's under me, because if I'm out of town or something, everybody here needs a dedicated number to contact him, not knowing when his phone's gonna be turned off or not. So I am asking for 2 phones, looking at about $2,500, that's for the phone purchase and for the year's service, for 2 more phones added to us. And the backup generator for the fuel pumps. I don't know how old that thing is. I think it's older than James Dent. That thing is old. I want to say it's back in the early 70s is how long that thing's been in there. It runs off from natural gas and it's on its last leg. I'm not sure if it would last an hour if it had to run, because it's so old. We do need to update that, because if we have another storm, a flood, or whatever, yeah, Cayce's on first call to get power back, but if they're flooded, they're not gonna be able to get us power back fast enough. So we need something that's gonna last longer than an hour. So backup generator to have it installed is $14,000. That's them coming in, installing it, setting up a new system in the closet to make sure it turns on properly when the power is out, and when the power comes back on, it automatically kicks it back off. So that is a detriment, because we can't operate without it. Other than that, that's all I have. We're steadily going.
Awesome, thank you, Bill.
You're welcome.
Quick question though.
Yes, sir.
This generator's that old, it don't do the monthly self-test and all that stuff?
No, sir.
It's
This thing looks like a 2-cycle lawnmower. It's a little bitty thing.
Okay, but it does isolate from the grid?
Yes, sir. It does isolate from the grid, that we know of.
Oh,
They did have it on the same system that is self-test. When they cut on, it cut off half this building. So they did separate that a while back, so.
good. That's the generator we heard about last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And quickly, the power room, is that an attachment or that's a self-contained machine with the room and
The power is a self-contained piece of equipment. It's not an attachment.
Very good, thank you.
So.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm the third string planning and zoning presenter for you today, so bear with me. Just a couple of things that will be increasing and decreasing through this year's budget. I'll go through them quite quickly, but service contracts will increase. Thank you, council, for the new software that P&D is installing. It should be up and running here in the next couple of months. They've been doing a really good job of installing that software, so it'll be a big game changer for P&D. So that's really great. And that is just really the reoccurring cost that comes up with that. Just our GIS and additional softwares for other IT-related items. Travel expenses will be increased as we're continuing for professional development with our staff. Dues and subscriptions, a minor increase. Monique Ocean is going for AICP examination, so we're happy to support her in that. So that's wonderful. When she gets that, we'll celebrate that when she gets it. Training, small increase in that. Stormwater costs are actually going down. At some point in time, we had to make up some, so there was an increase in that, but we pushed it back down to what the normal cost is. Just under $26,000 for work with Lexington County. And then we're gonna get Shelley a new laptop and docking station so she can be a little bit more data supportive as well, or IT supportive as well. Things for your knowledge, H-tax and A-tax from the past several years. A small increase in H-tax, a small decrease in A-tax. You have those numbers and we can break them down for you if you want some more data on that. Number of businesses from 23 and 24, total businesses, and then our in-city businesses. Those are new ones that we occurred, and then you have your revenue sources down there. We may be very close to that revenue neutral for 23. Again, businesses will start making up and adjusting their true-ups as they do their taxes, so some of those things will adjust. Most of them you will adjust upwards, so they'll come a little bit closer to that 1.9 million. Just some items that took place in Cayce. You guys are aware of most of these. We had the Lexington Urgent Care that opened on Knox Abbott, the rehab facility that opened up on Taylor, and then Trendline Cafe down on State Street, which is a wonderful addition to our city. Some construction numbers and values between 22 and 23. They will always fluctuate. This is entirely dependent on really the larger projects that take place in our city. I don't know if that's a total for 23 with the residential construction, but that'll be up in 24, of course, because we have a new subdivision coming online. Commercial values, depending on, we have a couple big commercial projects that are coming through, so that construction cost will be up in 24 as well.
and going over those constructions for you. Top Underette, of course, is under construction down on Knox Avenue. Everybody's seen that as they rode by. Dunbar Village is the residential construction we're talking about. The pickleball court will be up in construction at some point. I thought they said during the summer, so that should be coming online soon. I know building officials looked at those. Core concrete is up and running, and Five Below will be over in Parkland Plaza here at some point in time. They're just upfitting one of the existing spaces in Parkland Plaza, so it'll be coming in, and then some construction that we've had talked with, some new hotel and restaurants, Cayce Crossing expansion, and then Sonic out on Airport Boulevard and Racetrack out by Starbucks, Charleston Mountain. More stuff, some of the audit stuff that our great staff and business license has been catching and doing. These are just errors they've caught or wrong revenues that have been rejected, of going back and making sure that their true ups are done and they're giving the right numbers. A lot of those are validated through Department of Revenue. So Shelley and Jessica, who's over there now with her, are doing a great job of getting in those additional revenues that our city so truly deserves to get.
What are the columns, the different businesses?
No, that is, actually those are, I think those are different businesses they've caught and what the taxes they had initially paid.
Wow.
So the 238 is what we were able to capture from their auditing?
Yes.
That's great.
Between, it's more than 1 year, it's a multi-year.
That's great.
It's great work they've done. Yes, sir.
Back on the first slide, the new businesses and new in-city businesses, are those all brick and mortar, or does that include if someone were to get a permit for, let's say, an Airbnb or running something remote, things like that?
It's probably total. We can break it down for just brick and mortar.
Thank you.
Of course. Any other questions?
Mike, is there, and maybe this is later, is there a breakdown of what we use H-tax and accommodation tax for?
Some of that'll be broken down and some of that'll be much
Later.
later.
Okay, I didn't know what it was now. Okay.
Yeah, Kelly had the A-Tax committee meeting,
On the
and then
ninth?
you have
Okay.
H-Tax this Friday, so after that one.
Correct.
Okay.
So once I get past both meetings, I'll start putting all the information together and it'll come to you in the recommended.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
We'll itemize how much that's going to parks and other places.
Okay,
We'll
perfect.
break all
No,
that.
thank you.
Think you had a question?
Yeah, the new businesses versus new in-city. The in-city, I assume, means is based
Yes.
in the city
Yes.
as opposed to a franchise.
Our contractor or someone who has a base that's outside, they're just doing actually some work in our city.
A lot of those are contractor
A
businesses.
lot of them are contractors.
Oh, okay, very good. Oh, thank you. Very good.
Thank you, Mike.
Back to Jim.
Back to Andy. Andy has a museum presentation. Let's go forward.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you for being supporters and stewards of the Cayce history and heritage. We have such a great amount of that here in our city, and so we're really thankful to you. So the Cayce Historical Museum, just to review, because we love to tell you guys what we've been doing over the last year before we get into the budget request. I do now have a full-time employee, Elizabeth Lumsden. She became full-time in July 2023, and that is expanding what we can do at the museum, and she's doing a really good job for us. One of the things we did this last fall was we had the opening reception for the South Carolina Federation of Museums, which is the main organization for South Carolina museums. It was a great time. People got to see our museum, they got to network in our museum, and it was a great event. Of course, we also did our Christmas Traditions open house, although weather played havoc with that. We did have a smaller turnout because of the weather, but the people that turned out had a really good time, and hopefully this coming year, or the next, this coming December, the weather's going to be much better to do that event. So, We got a major donation of modern Catawba pottery, and we had to have that appraised, and our appraisal was finished in January, and so now we're going to start to look to how we can display that pottery in our museum, and that was one of the things we got accomplished this year. We also completed our African American Legends of Cayce exhibit, which gave our museum even more diversity than it had, and so we're really excited about that. We opened that on February the 8th, 2024. We've had a very positive response from folks coming in to see the exhibit, and we'll continue to promote that. Our commission was hard at work on a new strategic plan for our museum. Over the last several years, they've drafted bylaws, they put together a new strategic plan, and they've also are in the stages of creating a fringe group for the museum. Tartan Day South, just a couple weeks ago, was a great event. We had 23 folks that participated and did exhibits for us and did tables and whatnot, and we saw hundreds and hundreds of people and passed out information on the museum and also the history of Cayce. We are also going to be replacing our top 5 windows on the top of the museum there this spring. We're working with Austin Historical. They're building our windows right now. They should be completed with those early May, so they should have those windows installed before June 30th. And those windows are replacing some windows that showed rot, and we needed to get them replaced to make sure that our museum was secure. We're also working on a donation we got from the Midlands Coin Club. They donated to us Series 7, all the Confederate bills that were printed during the time when the Confederate printing press was here in Columbia. And so we have an exhibit. We're moving all of our stuff on the Civil War into one room, and this exhibit will tell the story of the printing presses there, as well as the story of the Civil War battle and the burning of Columbia. We also used money from you last year to complete public safety building upgrades in our public safety exhibit building. We've got the ceiling completed, and we've got lights hung, we've got the walls done, and the floors finished. And so now we're ready to begin building out exhibits in this building. We have a new exhibit we're working on. We hope to have up by the late spring, early summer. It's going to be on the Columbia Airport. We're going to look at all 3 aspects of the airport: the military part, the part when the airport was kind of small in the 50s and 60s, and then what the modern airport is all about. And we've been able to collect some really neat materials from the airport. We were able to go over there in the archive room, and they let us take away whatever we wanted. So we have a good collection of stuff we're getting ready to exhibit. And then of course we had other activities. We had workshops, we had an archaeology day behind our museum, and we had an event honoring our legends. So we had a really busy year. Now, here we want to talk about what we request for the museum. Much of the requests here are probably A-tax or H-tax requests. But let me kind of go through them as we go. So like I said, our public safety exhibit, we completed the space. Now we're ready to actually work on the cases and put the objects in there. And we're going to need to do some printing of certain things to make the exhibit, the placards and photographs and things like that. So we are requesting some monies to do the public safety exhibit this coming year. And hopefully, what I am hoping for, if everything goes all right, is that by the end of the year, we will have our public safety exhibit open, honoring our police and our fire departments here in the city of Cayce. As I told you, we had our Catawba pottery appraised. This is a fantastic collection for our museum. We want to do this right, and we're going to seek out someone who may be able to sponsor our Catawba pottery collection, but at the same time, we'd like to reach out and to some kind of design services to see if they can help us kind of envision the space that we're going to display the Catawba pottery in. And so we are asking for money for those design services to be able to do that. As you may know, the 250th anniversary of the Revolutionary War is almost upon us, and we have been working on the content for our Rev 250 exhibit, which is going to bring together all the Revolutionary War materials in our museum and tell a story about the Revolutionary War here. I mean, we had the battles at Fort Granby. We've got information on Emily Giger, and also the information on the Cornwallis table. All of that is a fantastic story. We are working the next step will be, now that we've got the content made, will be the construction, the cases, the printing, everything that goes along with that exhibit. So we would love to have that up and open by the time that the Rev 250 events reach up with us here. The events took place in 1781, so we're just a couple of years away from that. Christmas traditions, this is a traditional request that we make. We're making that again to continue this event. Hopefully the weather will hold out this time. We feel like we had some changes last year that helped our event. Fortunately, the weather kind of played havoc with that. We were going to have a Christmas market. We still had the Christmas market. The people that got to experience the Christmas market were thankful. They said it was a great event, but hopefully this year it's going to be much better because the weather is going to be much better. We had to wait on the installation of gutters. We had actually requested this last year, but because the windows were not completed, we had to wait for the windows to be completed and that project to be done before we installed some gutters in the museum. These gutters are going to take the rainwater that was causing the rot on those windows off the museum. We're going to install gutters on both the front and the back of the museum to do that. And the next three items are all things that we have requested monies for before. They're annual events that we're doing. The African American Legends event, where we hold that at the Innovation Center down the street here. We bring up some of the people that we've recognized through our social media posts that are African Americans in our community. It's a great event, and we invite y'all to be a part of that this year, and we're looking at May 29th for that. But we're asking, this is for the monies for the next year for this event. The Colonial Village at Tartan Day South, once again, I think the date has already been set, April 5th for next year. So we are, we want to continue what we're doing at Colonial Day South, and hopefully we'll expand, go from 23 vendors to, even more, and get even more people involved with this. We're also using it to promote Rev 250. So the museum, Rev 250, and all the resources we have here, the history in this area. Our Friends of the Museum group is in formation phase, and they still would like to do a fundraising event, and so we'd like to do something called Night at the Museum. That hasn't been solidified yet, but this is the request for monies to do that event. Now, the reason I broke out the next two items is because I feel like this is not museum related request, but this goes with a separate line item for the 12,000 Year History Park. And I've been helping to set up those tours and get the guides to lead those tours and whatnot, and also do advertising for this. And we feel like that, we need to ask for some more money to do the printing and advertising to promote our 12,000 Year History Park. The other thing is, we'd like to do a special event in the park. Last year we did a Native American event, which brought out a nice group of folks. This year, coming up in February, will be the 106th Street Battle at Congaree Creek. We would like to promote that event, and then in the following year, we'd like to do something on the Colonial Fort in the park. So that is the request for $1,000 for advertising, perhaps some porta potties that we might need at the entrance there, any other kind of expenses that would take care of that event that we'd like to have. And that's what I've got for you. Thank you so much, and I'll answer any questions I can.
Well, one, I just want to thank you for doing a makeup day for the Christmas traditions, because I know the weather was bad, but I really commend y'all for not giving up. And I guess y'all gonna be proactive to have like another makeup day on the calendar, so everyone knows, just in case of bad weather.
Yes, we have discussed that. We will, in fact, the commission, we've sat down and looked at that and, you know, how we're gonna handle that, but yes, we will have a makeup day, and
Yes,
go
sir.
ahead and publish that too.
And how many tourists would you say walk through the historical museum's halls?
Yeah, so we've seen an increase since COVID.
Yes, sir.
COVID was the low point. I think 2022 was probably the low point of where we were. But I would say last year we saw maybe 500 or 600 people walk through. And this year it's starting out pretty good.
Yes, sir. Now question, because I'm just curious, let's say I'm new, I come into Cayce, is there any like slips or papers that show people, hey, while you're here, go, spend and shop in Cayce while you're here, just to entice people to not only, come to the museum, but go elsewhere because we have this in our city?
I don't exactly have that. We haven't created that.
Okay, I understand.
It's a great idea.
Yes, sir.
We do have information in our museum. We display and people come by and bring stuff.
Okay.
And we're glad to set that out for people,
Sounds like a
But,
good thing for the chamber.
but
You have it at the museum?
To have that stuff at the museum, we have all the museum stuff at the chamber, but
yeah. So, I mean, it's a great way to promote, our city, because our city, we've got so many fantastic resources here. Just the history, the heritage, the art park, all of those things would make a great outing for the family on a day.
Yes, sir.
Hey, we're coming in from Martinsburg and we want to see Cayce. And we're going to do this and this and this, 12,000 Year History Park, the museum, the art park, whatever. But we haven't, put all that together, but that is a great idea.
Yes, sir. No, thank you.
We do have placards advertising the museum and the 12th History Park. I'm
Okay.
sure they're at the chamber, and then we
QR
have them
codes lead
at
everybody.
welcome centers throughout, and we go through
Right.
them, we have to print them.
Okay.
They get picked up a
Yes,
lot,
ma'am.
so we have the reverse
There is a
going.
mutual program that promote all of that.
Okay.
And Andy's actually been to a lot of the visitor programs and chamber programs to be able to push out everything that's going on here.
I'll do whatever I can, to help promote, and
Yes, you do. Yes,
we'll
you
get
do.
it out there.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andy.
Thank you.
Good job, Andy.
Here's James.
So I think all of y'all know me already. James Becker, the IT director. Yep. Not a lot of stuff on here, but unfortunately, most of what you're gonna hear from me today is increase. Kelly kind of previewed it earlier.
Give a breakdown of what you spend ARPA money on, the grades that you spend in the city.
Yeah. And we'll get into those details. I do want to say, if I look a little less stressed today, if I look a little more relaxed than I normally do when I come in here, it's because you guys helped me out last year. You gave me another position. I've got a third person working in IT now. We've actually been able to start tackling quite a big backlog of things that we had back. Huh. Yeah, Ryan Kelly is sitting over there. He's
Hey, Ryan.
kind of manning the. He's
He
in
was
here.
one of the lead mechanics over
You
there.
just hear a thief back
Jamie's the one that poached him.
That's called family love. That's called family love.
It's a good opportunity because a lot of our stuff crosses over with them, especially working these patrol cars and stuff with the technology. So it's been a good. He's filled a really good gap for me.
And he just got his degree in IT, so.
Wow.
Yeah. He says he's a little less smelly going on. All right, Jake.
We're about 6-8 weeks in, but already we're starting to tackle some more of our proactive stuff, some things that have been on the wish list for a while. We had gotten to a point where we were just trying to keep the lights on and keep things running. We were keeping probably about 80 to 85 help desk tickets backlog. We're down to 16 right now today, and about 12 of those are long-term projects that are just sitting there. So we're a lot more responsive, a lot more able to get on things in a timely manner. And we're actually starting to check things off of our wish list now, starting to do some more proactive stuff, get eyes on things. We've obviously, you know, we've gotten the chamber upgrades through. This has been a blessing, having the streaming system here now. We've got a few final little lists. We've been sort of learning the system as we go and making some tweaks. We've got a few final little things we're doing to help with meetings, but we're pretty much ready to close this out. It works pretty well. And I had Ryan sitting in here with me today just to get an idea of how it works, so we can y'all start seeing somebody besides just me in here all the time. Trying to give y'all some variety. And I'll talk a little more when I get into the capital replacement here, but with the ARPA funds you also gave me last year, we started trying to reduce our technology footprint a little bit, as far as we were starting to see an issue with, you know, we rolled out a lot of extra laptops during COVID. We scrambled to try to make our staff more mobile, and that had been a bit of a challenge. We've started converting people over to a docking station and laptop sort of a combo, and getting rid of traditional desktops where it's appropriate, depending on the position, which does two things for us. Instead of supporting two devices for a person, we're supporting one. And it gives our staff, they can actually pick that laptop up and go out of here. And we've done some work on remote connectivity and stuff, where now we can actually have them able to be mobile, remote, get around, and more efficient. And we're supporting one less device at each point that we do that. So it's really a win-win. It costs me a little bit extra money up front to get it going, but it saves us in the long run, because we're trying to, you know, we kind of had some explosive growth there back when COVID started, trying to just roll out whatever we could to get people connected and working and keep things going. So we're starting to get back on top of that now. You'll see that. So my capital replacement for this year, you know, I've got 40,000 in there. 13 of that is rugged laptops. We really started just rolling those rugged laptops out about 5 years ago. 5 years is about our lifespan. 5 years is the actual replacement and accidental damage warranty we get on those things. So we're trying to roll them off at the 5-year mark. This is our first real replacement year that we've had. Those things have been in service 5 years. They've been doing pretty good. We bought some extra that first year, so it's a little bit of a spike from what we normally see. Usually we should be replacing around 8 or 9 of those in a given year. And they are a little pricey. They're about $2,200 a piece. On the good side, we went with that Dell Rugged, and it seems to be a little better. As far as, you know, Panasonic is substantially more expensive than that, so it seems to be a good mix of budget and durability. And we do get that 5-year warranty on it. If we do manage to break a screen or something, Dell comes out and replaces it for us, does it on site. So we keep those things in service and doing what they need to be. We've got a couple of desktops in there. And again, where appropriate, what we're doing is, as we replace those, we're trying to give staff, you know, where it's appropriate, we're putting that laptop and docking station in front of them. In some cases, if they've already got the laptop, we're dropping the docking station and monitors in and taking that desktop and reallocating it somewhere to try to save on the back end there too. Just doing the most with what we've got. Everything's getting more expensive, and we're trying to minimize what we're spending here. The iPad for the IT department, I threw that in there. That's really a fairly minor expense, but one of the other things we did with the ARPA funding was we were actually finally able to roll out some mobile device management that lets us keep control of our cell phones, and we now actually have quite a few iPads rolled out. We were having some issues controlling those before, and sort of had a limited number because we didn't have a good way to control them. And now that we've got that going, it's a lot easier to do. But we found that we need one for IT, so we don't have to borrow one from, Betsy let me borrow one from utilities for a month or two when we were changing some things. But we basically need something that we can when we build those test policies, we roll them out to that first, so we can see that it's working before we roll it out to everybody and break something for everybody. So it just gives us a way to troubleshoot that without pulling people in here, keeping everybody working. My Unitrends backup in DR, so that is the appliance that actually backs up all of our servers, everything that we've got. We do everything from nightly backups on some of our regular file servers and stuff to hourly backups on the finance server. As those backups complete, we actually shuttle those off-site to a cloud location out in Denver, Colorado. They're encrypted when they leave here, so we're not really letting our information go. And that stuff is kept there. Basically, we can keep offloading those backups. We get about 90 days of retention. They don't really care how big the footprint is for the number of backups we have. It's just the number of servers we're backing up. We've seen a substantial increase in this year. I've actually done a lot of research. We got a little bit of sticker shock when we started getting our budgetary quotes on this. But it's just like everything else I've seen this year. The two big things, we saw a substantial increase just in a regular price increase because everything's gotten more expensive. The other thing that sort of contributed to this is we've added a lot of servers the last 2 or 3 years. Our data footprint went from about 7.5, 8 terabytes up to about 13 terabytes now. So that's about a 50% increase in what we were already pushing up to the cloud. It's fairly substantial. So we're almost, it's actually a little more than that now. I just pulled that 13.5 number right before I came in here. I went and looked, just seeing where we were at. And a couple things that contributed to that, we added Smart Cop last year. That was 2 fairly large database servers we rolled out. We added some mobile VPN to keep those units connected in here and running persistently with the CAD system and things like that. Those were fairly neat. We had a server we rolled out for utilities and a few others, but really we're just growing. We're growing, so we've got a larger data footprint, so we saw some increase there, and then of course the price went up. The other thing we're kind of fighting there is that price tag that comes with a 3-year commitment. Across the board, all the vendors I looked at for this year, if we went with less than 3 years with them, they want us to pay substantially more for just the 1-year commitment. It's a little bit of a strong arm, but we are seeing that consistently everywhere. So that's a fairly hefty price tag, but I can honestly say, for the first couple of years, we were paying for that. We used it here and there. We've actually had a couple of instances where this has really saved our bacon the last year or so. We've had to, especially when we started rolling out these servers and we had to move stuff over, we had a few things where we had to restore some things from backup, and we were able to do it, and we drove on with fairly minimal interruption. But again, a little bit of a big price tag. It makes sense when you look at the increase, and everything's just more expensive. The increased asset footprint up there, that's what I'm sort of already covering. We were seeing, we'd gotten out to where we were supporting probably about 260, 270 devices. I just looked before I came up here. I've had Ryan and Chris working as we start rolling out these laptop docking stations, and we start rolling off some things that we don't need anymore. We're down to probably around 230, 235 now. So we're trending that number down a little. Just trying to reduce that footprint and keep everybody still going. And of course, the increase in service contracts. I covered the Unitrend stuff there. We've got a couple of software packages that we use for managing all the systems out here, keeping things updated with the latest patches, deploying images when we get new machines in, letting us do it efficiently, things like that. And our Microsoft Office 365 contract, that was probably the biggest increase we saw. The Microsoft 365 licensing that supports our email and our cloud storage and stuff. Fairly significant increase. I think our total footprint there now, if you count utilities, is around 50,000 a year, what we're looking at. When we started that, when we really started into that, we were probably around 25, so we've almost doubled, but that's over 10 years. But we went up about $10,000 in the last 2 years, and that's just Microsoft has some government pricing that's expired, and so we're starting to feel the effects of 2 things: the higher rate, and we've now rolled out email addresses to all employees now. We used to only we used to only give them out on a as-needed basis, but we've now got everybody on at least a basic email box. So a little bit of an increase there. Outside of that, it's mainly business as usual. And again, we're starting to roll off some of our wish list stuff. It's actually been really nice. So I'll answer any questions you have, or if I missed anything.
Not a question, Jamie, but thank you for getting us out of the 18th century.
We're trying.
I'm serious. My goodness gracious, where we're going. I know you got a bigger vision, and we can achieve it. But where it once was to where it is now. Congratulations.
And I apologize, I did miss one other thing in ARPA. So we are still continuing, and one of the things that's really, we're really back moving on is with the additional help. We are still in the middle of a complete and total, our switching network, our switches that are the backbone of the network here. We are replacing everything as part of that ARPA project that you guys gave us last year. We've replaced both firewalls, several of our switches, and we've got another sizable order of switches coming in. And we're working with a actual consultant vendor to help us actually build that in a thoughtful manner as we put it out. So we've got a state contract vendor, Layer 3, that's working with us. So apologize.
Jamie, question.
Yes, sir.
Does IT handle our city's app, or is that another department?
Which app?
I guess the only app I know is
The
sanitation.
curbside collections, Cayce curbside collections. So we actually have a vendor that Parks works with on that, and I work with them as needed. We keep the developer licensing and stuff up for the most part. They do all of that. Now I know there's some work that, and don't let me speak out of turn here, Thomas. I know Susan does a lot of work keeping the addresses and stuff like that maintained in there.
Yes, sir.
But it's sort of a group project between me, Parks and Sanitation, and I do not remember, Recollect is our
Yes, sir.
vendor that helps us with that.
So is that like what we pay for? Is that like the bare minimum of what they do for us, or?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So for us to expand that, how much would you say that would have to cost for us to start putting, hey, this is what some city events, or what's happening this month and stuff like that in the app?
I'm not sure. I know we had some conversations with them in the early stages of that, but have we revisited that?
Not yet. Right now, we're trying to get all the addresses and everything in first, because we had some addresses that didn't fall in.
Yes, sir.
Anything that come up you, it wasn't going in, so right now we are redoing all the data.
Okay.
And once we get that done, then we can branch out a little bit more.
Okay, perfect. Well, if you wouldn't mind, can you keep us in the loop of, hey, how that's going? Because, as we, apps and everything.
Yes.
Whatever we can do to enhance our app, I would love to be supportive of that.
And they do have some ability to extend some additional messaging and stuff with your citizens. I mean, it's built as a notification app initially for the pickup and things like that. And we have a few other messages in there. They have some expanded stuff we can do, but like as he said, right now they're kind of having to. We had some issues with the address database.
Yes, sir.
And Susan's doing some really good work getting that reloaded and up and running, so it works a lot better.
Thank you. Thank y'all for that.
Jamie, do mobile phones fall under your department?
Yes, sir.
Is that a state contract item?
Yes, sir. So right now we're on Verizon and we're paying state contract pricing.
So all of them are under that contract, y'all just dole them out on a department basis?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I work pretty closely with Kelly. We keep we sort of keep it billed out to the individual departments when they do the monthly bill. But right now we've probably got 257 devices on there. Now that's not all phones. There's probably 50, 55 in-car modems running in police cars.
So that's in plus the 235, 270 other devices.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. When I throw that number out there, that's just the computers. We've got a lot of other things, iPads, phones. It's a pretty good cache of stuff. But we are, the biggest thing we've been focused on is making sure that we get visibility into everything that we've got and being able to be accountable for it and keep eyes on everything. And that's where some of these software expenses came from, because we've actually got things that are running in the back end and reporting back in, so we regularly see that device check in and we know what where it is and what it's doing. And we've got the ability to lock it out.
So Jim and Tracy, all the equipment that's being rotated out of IT now, will it go immediately to Andy in the museum to be used as an exhibit?
We have some stuff.
A lot of it.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
Oh, Jamie, one last question. In regards to Lumos and the 5 parks getting Wi-Fi, how, I guess, would that fall under your team or?
We will gladly work with them when we actually get to the nitty gritty on rolling that out.
Oh,
I think,
That's
Oh, that's Lumos? Okay, I didn't know whether, okay.
that actually, when you say that, I was looking at her because that was actually something when I first got into this, that had sort of been on one of my wish list items, but it kind of got pushed way down the list, so I'm glad to see we're actually getting that now.
Yeah, 'cause we had some temporary Wi-Fi down the hill.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thanks, we're working miracles, Jamie.
Finance.
You're back to me again.
Yeah, but you were pointing over to Jim, you do it. He
I
says,
was trying to
"You
get
do
him to do it. Did you see his
Oh.
face though? Wasn't gonna work.
She's like, you do it. I was like, oh.
Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, James.
All right, finances budget's pretty, for the most part, it's the same almost every year. We have the same salaries, we have the same training expenses, just enough training to make sure that we all keep our continuing education credits. But some new things this year that I wanted you guys to consider was the addition of one more fleet admin vehicle. The more that we grow and the more that we go after grants, the more usage we have for these vehicles. We have the city events that have them running all the time. We have grants keeps them running all the time. Finance also needs to be able to go to the bank and back, go to trainings and back, and one more fleet vehicle would help us kind of disperse that load against the vehicles we already have. Another thing that we are looking at for this year, and it's been on a wish list for a while now, is software. Some of the things that our current software that we have now does great is the financials. It does an awesome job on financials. Not necessarily the transparency, the reporting of those financials out, not necessarily the grants. A lot of the stuff that is grant related, procurement related, that is handled by spreadsheets and PDF, and it's all manual processes. So what we're asking for this year would be a software, either this could be separated out or it could maybe be an all-in-one software, but the ability to do budgeting and planning, making our budgeting a more collaborative process and a more transparent process so that all of us can log into a portal and we can be working on things. And the minute I make a change, it's noted, it is tracked, but administration can see that I made a change. So on and so forth. We can lock budgets when we want directors to stop playing with it while we work with it. It'll also, I believe, help us in creating a real formal capital improvement plan and a personnel plan. That'll be part of the planning and budgeting. The procurement side, which also includes contract management. This would take your procurement from the very beginning, issuing out your RFPs, your RFQs, your RFIs, all the way through the review process, through the award process, to the contract process, and then tracking that contract after it goes live to let you know when it's going to expire. Do you have any one-year renewals on it left, or do you need to re-RFP it? It'll help us track those, which I know was a big thing for council and administration here within the past few years. Another thing that we do now, very, very, very Excel-based manual process, is our grants. Our grants are exploding. The city is doing everything it can to go after grants, which is great. Managing those grants in Excel is just becoming tedious, and I don't want to risk missing a deadline or anything like that. So being able to have a true grant management software that'll help us through that process. Where is that grant? When's the next time a progress report is due? When is the next time we have to request reimbursement? Who's our contact? Being able to collaborate on those grants within a portal would be fantastic. you really wouldn't want to see my spreadsheet right now that tells me when everything's due. So another thing that it could do, transparency and collaboration, you guys mentioned a second ago, being able to communicate out and being able to blast. The ones that we looked at have that ability. So that could be something that could be utilized. From what I understand of the software we've been looking at, is that we can pick and choose, you know, what we want, who to view, when to view, how to view. We have that customizable option. It'll also be able to expand. You've heard utilities talk about the need for asset management. This could be an option for them if they wanted to explore it. They also have the ability to do the financial side if we ever wanted to get rid of our current software. The cost for all of it combined, I know looks a little bit expensive. So to implement would be about $66,000. They would take all of our information for us and put them in there. Every contract we have, every RFP we've ever written, all of our grants that we have, they will put our chart of accounts in there. They will create everything for us for the $66,000, and then we would have to keep up with the remaining $66,000 recurring costs to upkeep the software. We have also been looking at the indirect cost transfer study. The indirect cost transfer is the amount of money that basically utilities pays general fund for their use of HR, their use of finance, their use of the general fund departments. We really need, in my opinion, to seek an outside source to do a professional study to find out what, kind of like Ref tell us, what should our rate be? What is it now? What are you recommending? I do believe that that would be good for the city to do. Right now, it's an internal process, and I think we should make it every so often number of years an external review. And last but not least is kind of a small thing, but it's a big thing for us. The city of Cayce has one printer capable of printing checks right now, which is fine. I'm not gonna say anything good about it because then I'll jinx it, but it is aging. And I talked to Janie, and I think it's best if we put a reserve in to my budget in case that printer ever does break, that we could have the funds to immediately replace it, and we should not have to worry about supply chain delays on that type of a printer. So all I'm asking for is just a reserve fund. I'm a big fan of older printers over newer printers, so I don't want to get rid of it until it needs to be gotten rid of. But I do want to make sure that I have funds on hand to keep the city going as far as being able to pay our vendors. That's it for
What you say there, it's a bit of a finicky thing when you're trying to print checks, special quicker turn, special fonts, things like that. So it is one of those things where if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But we do know at some point that printer may die and we need to replace it. We've had a few little issues here and there, but for the most part it's rock solid. But we did have that on the horizon for something that, you know, if we had something we need to have a backup plan, that would be it.
And he just jinxed me. That's it. I'll take any questions if you guys have any.
So Kelly, just curious, does this grants management program, does it search out the grants that our city would love to pursue, or is it more so to keep our city organized? So it's like, hey, you got 3 months to this deadline, or this grant costs blah, 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 blah. Just trying to get more knowledge of that.
Right. The ones that I've looked at so far, because we just did a cursory review of some to be able to present what they can do. What I've seen so far is they do not go out and they don't look for grants.
Okay.
But they will monitor that grant once you know about it.
Oh.
And it will be able to differentiate between this is a prospect grant, this is a grant that we have applied for, we're waiting on award, this is when we were denied, this is when we were awarded. And it will follow you all the way through the process of that grant, so that at any moment in time, instead of Jim calling me and say, where is this grant at? He could literally look in that portal and I won't get a phone call.
I got you. Okay. That's awesome.
Nothing before 9 a.m. Nothing before 9 a.m.
I thought it was 10. He keeps moving it up.
and your team has done a great job with these grants. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Kelly.
Kelly.
And the fire
We
department.
have 2 departments left, if you want to do a time check. Restroom or?
Oh, I mean, Hunter Dorn stuff, if y'all want to use that as an opportunity to take a break.
5, 10.
Fine, let's do
Yeah,
fine.
it's like 10 minutes.
Thank you, man.
That's good. That's fine.
We did last year. So last year we ran a little over 2,100 calls. 91 of those were fire calls. And of those 91 fire calls, we saved $4.7 million in property. And we had just over 5,000 hours of training between 24 people last year. So just to give you some perspective on the amount of calls we ran last year. In 2020, we ran 1,100 calls. In 2023, we ran 2,100. So in that 3-year period, we had an 89% increase in call volume. So we've been very busy the past couple of years. All right. So moving to the budget. So the other handout you have is a salary study that we did internally between about 10 or so departments around the state at varying levels, positions within the fire department. And in comparing all of those positions and salaries across the state, we are below the average in a lot of areas. So we're requesting to spend about 85 to 90 to raise our salaries to get above that average level. And that would account for things such as compression and certification pay for our guys who work hard for us every day. So next, service contracts, like everybody stated before, those are increasing with the technology upgrades that we're doing. So there is a pretty significant increase in our service contract line item. Next is our capital needs. So we're in dire need of a new fire engine. The last engine that we bought was in 2016 or 2015. So it's getting a lot of wear on it. But this will be replacing the 1999 engine that we still have in service that we've used a pretty good bit here lately, just due to some mechanical problems with our other trucks. So we are in need of that engine, and it's going to cost approximately $900,000. We haven't dove into the specifics with any salespeople yet, but that would include the truck and all equipment to outfit it. A sales guy was down at the department earlier, and he was giving us some numbers on how much these apparatus have increased over the past 3 years since COVID, all the inflation, and he said that the price of an engine has rose 63% since 2020, and he doesn't foresee it slowing down. So if you do the math, it's about 17% increase each year that goes on. So next is a replacement of our service truck. This truck is a 2008 Ford F-250. It's got about 205,000 miles on it, and it's used to transport our boat to and from the river for emergencies. So we're looking at replacing it with a multi-purpose vehicle, one that could take the place of that truck and take the place of our brush truck that we currently use. So we could kind of use one vehicle to replace two to be more efficient. And that would cost about $175,000. Next would be some station upgrades. Like everywhere else, we're running out of room, so we just need to do some general updating just to make the station more comfortable for 8 guys on shift every day, because they spend a third of their life there, so it's their second home. They're home away from home, so we just need to update some things. So a rough estimate would be about $100,000 to do those updates and upgrades. Next would be a UTV for our Riverwalk and special events that we do. This would be a UTV that would provide patient transport and would have fire suppression capabilities on it. So many a time we have responded to patients at the Riverwalk, and we've had to either carry them out or, borrow the police department's UTV or something like that. So it's just, we make it more efficient for us to be able to respond and provide a better level of care to our citizens. And for the events, the Speedway is a large area, so it would be beneficial if we had something to kind of get there faster instead of walking, carrying all our equipment. So, and that would be about $38,000. Then we're needing to replace the assistant chief vehicle. It's a 2014 F-150. It's got a little over 100,000 miles on it. So we're replacing that for about $70,000. That would be vehicle and all equipment. Bunker gear or turnout gear. This is a normal request we put in for every year. And this is just the protective gear that our guys wear. And on that, we were awarded a public firehouse subs grant about 2 weeks ago to help with some of this cost. So,
Congratulations.
so yeah, good. All right. In with the station upgrades, the concrete pad out front is needing replacing. It's starting to crack and being undermined by the water. And our vehicles are getting heavier. So we just need to replace that concrete with some new concrete. Next would be a off-site storage building. Like I said earlier, everywhere's running out of space, so are we. So we would just need a building off-site to where we could store a reserve engine or our boats or somewhere to kind of free up some space in our station to where we could move around and be comfortable. And that would be about $75,000. That's just an overview of the vehicles. And then we have a grant, an AFG grant through FEMA out now to replace our radios. We won't know until we get that grant until October of this year. We put in for it last year, we weren't awarded. So we put in again this year. Hopefully we'll get awarded this year. But if not, we need to start thinking about setting some money aside to replace them, since the police department's already replaced or already gotten funding to replace theirs. That way we can communicate. This is some long-range planning that we've been talking about. With our increase in call volume and the amount of services we provide to the community, we're looking at adding some additional firefighters. So in the fiscal year 25-26, we're hoping to get one more per shift. 26-27, an additional one firefighter per shift, a training chief position, and a new fire station. 27-28, an additional 3 firefighters. We have some equipment that would need to be replaced, and we would need to replace another fire truck at that point due to the age of the current ones. 28-29, again, turnout gear would need to be replaced. We would need to start looking at our air packs or SCBAs. We purchased those about 7 or 8 years ago, so by then they would hit its life and need to be replaced. And then we would start into vehicle replacement on a 5-year replacement plan. Other than that, that's all we got. Any questions or anything?
So if I read this correctly, the goal is to add 9 FTEs by 2028?
Yes. Yeah. And hopefully, with the addition of the station, we would be able to accommodate those people.
Are you at the staff that you truly need right now?
Not really. To provide the best service kind of where we're at right now, we would need 9 per shift. That would allow us to have 2 fully staffed trucks and a battalion chief to go on every call or wherever they're needed.
So what do you do when you're short right now?
We utilize mutual aid with West Columbia and Lexington County to meet that NFPA standard.
Awesome. Thank you both.
Save you 45 minutes.
Excuse me. Took all the, Steve took all the money. All right. Thank you all for letting us come and talk. We always enjoy coming and getting the opportunity to tell you all about the department because we're extremely proud of what our guys and gals are doing every day. So just real quick overview, give you some kind of high level ideas that we have for what we're trying to do this budget. Kelly always cringes when I walk in the room, so I'll try to be gentle and nice. Wrong way there. Just general information. We're looking at a very competitive market when it comes to law enforcement. We know that there's 5,400 law enforcement openings in the state right now. And so when it comes to competing for talent, we're trying to make sure that we're providing the best environment that we possibly can, whether that's resources, whether that's equipment, whether that's teaming, whatever it is. So we know that we're competing with other departments on a very, very competitive level. Just to give you kind of an overview of where we were last year, we were up about 10.9% in calls for service from the year before. We were at 12,983 calls for service. We had we had a situation where we increased our incident reports. We took 3,543 incident reports last year, and again, that's up from the year before. So we're in a situation where our calls for service are rising, our impact to the community is rising in a positive way. We've started tracking better the way that our personnel work by utilizing Smart Cop, by utilizing more innovative operations within our department. So we're able to provide better services, we believe. For example, our animal park safety officers now, we combined that unit. We no longer have one person doing animal control. We have a park safety, animal safety unit, and it's 5 people that work together, and they work cohesively to not only provide safety to our parks, but they also handle animal calls. We're also doing a proactive educational piece with that to try to encourage people to understand what we do and what we don't do. Because a lot of people are under the impression that if they find a rattlesnake in the drawer of their house, we're supposed to respond to that. We don't have the capabilities to deal with that. But we can provide them, nor do we want to, but we provide them a better service through providing them resources in the community. So we've put that together, and we think we're doing a better job of communicating that and providing those services that we do. So we've been really excited about the transition that we've made to extra duty solutions. This has provided us, number one, it's an increase to our officers when they work extra duty in the community. And one of the things that we've done is we've been able to track more cohesively the actual hours that they're working. And it's actually, we believe, provided a better service to our citizens because we have a manager with Extra Duty Solutions that is locally based, that communicates directly with the clients and makes sure that they're getting the service they need and making sure that our officers are signing up. And everything is app-based. So they're providing service to the citizens while they're also providing our officers, because the officers get alerted when things are available and they're immediately able to sign up and we're getting things covered. So we're really excited about that. We did, when we implemented on July 15th, until now, we've done about 3,000 hours in extra duty work. So again, that's more officer pay, but it's also providing us the ability to make sure we're covering the expenses for the city, the gasoline, the wear and tear on the vehicles, wear and tear on the equipment, cell phones. Thanks to Jamie's work and helping us out, we make sure that every officer has a cell phone so that we can provide that not only for Extra Duty Solutions, but also now victims and suspects and things like that can get in touch with our officers, and they're no longer using their personal devices, they're using city devices. So it's, again, as we're trying to be more efficient and more effective, while at the same time making sure that our officers have the tools that they need. We're super excited about the things that we've been accomplishing. The guys and gals have really been working hard. I'm really proud of the patrol division. They're the backbone of our department. I'm proud of the criminal investigative division, our records division, of everybody. We've really done some unique things this last year at no cost to the city. We've expanded our social worker program to where we're out and we're in the community and we're making contact with citizens and helping provide resources that our cops can't provide, but citizens still need. Also providing a mental health clinician through the Department of Mental Health, again providing resources, and then also a great partnership with the U.S. Secret Service. We can now do digital evidence recovery and digital investigations, and there's not a lot of agencies in the state that can do that, and that's been at no expense to the city. The Secret Service has paid for that equipment. It's about $80,000, $90,000 worth of equipment that the Secret Service is providing us, and the training. And to somebody that's very, very passionate about it. Sergeant Garman is extremely passionate about this, and about 80 to 85% of our cases, our caseload, have a digital impact of some kind. So now we can do that. We don't have to rely on SLED. We don't have to outsource that. We can do that. And now we have agencies coming to us to ask us for help, but what we're finding is when they come, we're saying, wait a minute, there's a link between your case and ours. And so now we're getting that more cohesive work with the other agencies, and we're expanding our resources through sharing and partnering on those cases. So it's been pretty exciting. We've had a whole new direction to our K-9 program, which is really, really great. Thanks to our Public Safety Foundation and the fundraising efforts through Steel Paws, we've been able to expand our K-9 unit and provide basically a diverse K-9 unit. So we can now have patrol single-purpose dogs, we can have patrol apprehension dogs, we can have explosive ordnance detection dogs, therapy dogs, and we'll soon to also have a weapons detection dog for our schools. So we're expanding and being diverse, but we're also doing that at no expense to the city. We're doing that in a way that we think is innovative. As we expand that obviously becomes expensive, but it's more important the fact that the citizens are now getting the services that we believe that they need. And thanks to y'all, we've gone through a huge technological revolution. And we're hoping that we can demonstrate some of that to you, but it's important for you to know that it's providing a better ability for our officers to be able to provide resources. They don't have to come back to headquarters to download reports. They don't have to go to the substation to download reports. They're doing that, well, their computers are doing that. They're not doing it while they're driving, their computers are doing it for them. I said that one time at a community meeting and somebody said, wait, they're driving and downloading reports? So I tried to clarify that. But we're really excited about that. We've had some bumps and bruises in that as we evolved into Smart Cop, getting our prior data from our prior vendor to transfer into Smart Cop is challenging. Jamie's helping us with that. Then the meeting of that data from Smart Cop to SLED and SLED to us, and so we're working through some of those things. And as you have growing pains, some of those challenges occur. And I'm really super proud of Sabrina and Brittany and Lieutenant Baker, who have been really working through the issues that are associated with that and getting us to where we need to be. And there's some challenges, but we'll work through it. And I'm thankful for Jamie because he's really been a godsend. He and his team have really helped us with that. Just to give you a perspective, just gives you kind of ideas. Everybody's talked about, as we evolve into technology, we have more contracts and we have more recurring vendor lists. So one of the expansions, for example, with Sergeant Garman is we have a Celebrite, which is our way to download cell phones. So that's a new technology that we have, and that's a new software that we have. So there's some new expenses there. Kelly's working on with us with our Axon fees as we process through that, and we use those federal grant funds that we got to pay that system off, so that's no expense to the council or to the city, to the taxpayer. So it's pretty exciting. We are looking to do some things. I won't go into all the details of all the minutia, but one of the things we want to do is we want to look at substation space that we've got out in the community, whether that's out in the Hunters Mill area, whether that's out in the Charleston Highway area. We need to decentralize our headquarters because we've outgrown that space. We've got the potential this year to be able to move into a retail space at about $1,400 a month, which would move our criminal investigative division out of headquarters and put them in a space instead of a space that's about half this size. It would basically double this size, and it would be a retail space out in the community, exposing them to the community while at the same time giving them the space that they need to perform their jobs. So we're just trying to do some little things that we can do and looking at other substation availability around the city so that we can be decentralized and be more accessible to the community. But one of the ways that we do that is we evolve our technology, we become more visible in the community, but we also provide resources like online reporting. And we're working right now on providing a way for citizens to be able to go online and make reports through SmartCop so that they don't have to always have an officer dispatched to the house if they choose. If they want an officer, we're going to send them, but if it's something that happened 3 months ago or 30 days ago, it's something we can do online, it makes us more efficient and effective for the other things that are going on. So this just, the information that you have is about some things that we're looking for, rugged laptops with Jamie's working, range improvements. We've got to remediate the lead at the range. That's something that has to be done every so often. There's certain rules and regulations around that, and it's coming time to do that. We're starting to get some feedback from the range, meaning the lead is starting to come back. So we're going to have to do that, and it's going to be about $28,000, keeping in mind that it'll probably be a little lower because we'll be doing some recycling of that lead, and the company will do that for us. We have to replace our generator. Jamie, I don't even know how low that thing is. I wouldn't insult a fellow Navy man and James Denny saying he was older than that, but it's old. It's old.
And that's the most now once.
Yeah. It basically keeps us up and running, so we really need to do that. We've got some vehicles that we're going to need. We're asking for 5 vehicles as we did last year, so that's just standard, but we've got some vehicles with high mileage that we really need to take care of and get off the road. One of the vehicles we're asking for is a 75-25 split with the district, so that kind of lessens the impact a little bit. Dispatch just needs 2 24-hour support chairs. So it kind of runs the gamut of what we're looking for equipment-wise. We did a comparison this year of salaries, and this is our laser focus for this year is salaries. We did a little comparison. It gives you some examples between us, West Columbia, Lexington, Columbia PD, USC PD, SLED, Highway Patrol, Pine Ridge. You'll ask, why did I pick these agencies? These are the agencies, most of the agencies that we lost people to, right? And so this just kind of gives you a little bit of a comparative, but we're just simply asking to be competitive because we know that we have situations where I was getting texts today from 2 different people that want to, they want to come, they're certified, they want to come here, and they're asking, first thing they ask is, what can you pay me? And so we want to be competitive. So in order to do that, we're looking for a pay incentive plan, competitive pay incentive plan, which would basically give a higher pay to sergeants and below. Basically would be an increase to them and a lower increase to lieutenants and above. We need to make sure we're taking care of that middle management and the people that really get done what needs to be done every single day. We think in order to do that, we're at $380-something thousand. $339 is the percentage. 14 is for some sergeant pay mid-level adjustments, and then we want to continue to have a pay specific for patrol. Patrol is the backbone of our department. It doesn't take away from any dispatch. It doesn't take away from CID, but they're what makes us tick every day. And so we want, if you're here and you're committed to being on patrol, we want to continue to have a pay incentive. We implemented that last year within our budget, and it was very, very beneficial. We took money from within the budget, we managed it, we balanced it, and basically if you were on patrol, you received an incentive for staying on patrol. If you were hired and you came in to go on to patrol, you received an incentive for that as well. And so that we believe is very important. So we think that will put us competitive with other agencies, as well as keep us retaining the great people that we have currently. We need a credit card system for receiving payments for records. We've got to make Sabrina and that staff more efficient and more effective, and create a situation where we can actually take payments for Freedom of Information requests, for all of these requests that we get with attorneys, for accident reports. It's just constant, it's nonstop. We also believe it will cut down on the what he said, of those requests, because we get them all the time and we get them constantly. So, and we've had a lot of VIP visits, but one of the things that we also want to do is get back implementing our response team from the standpoint of being out and doing our CRU, or the advanced or crime suppression units. We've been doing that. Last year we seized 85 guns off the streets because the officers were out working overtime specific for crime suppression, and we believe that it also helped us reduce crime, so we'll continue to do that. And again, our generator replacement. Our focus is salaries, just to be point blank with you. We've tried to be very reasonable in what our requests are, to try to keep down any major capital requests and things like that, and really focus on the team that we presently have and making sure that we're providing the best service that we possibly can. Any questions, comments, or concerns?
I got a couple.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. On page, I guess it'll be slide 42 with the stats side
Yes,
by
sir.
side.
Yes, sir.
What, traffic stops were down about 2,000. Is that, and it's got, you know, May to December. Is that only May to December? Just
Yes, sir.
curious as to the
Yes, sir,
stats
it
there.
is.
And that's when we implemented the smart cop?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So we're working.
Data still.
I was just curious about that. I was
Yes,
like,
sir.
if adding 9 speed trailer deployments over the years, what reduced it?
I don't think the speed trailers had that much of an impact, no, sir. It's definitely, if you look January to May, that's gonna be, we're gonna be equivalent to the year before. The officers are out there writing tickets. I had a lady call in, she wanted to know how many tickets were written in her neighborhood, and it was 55 in a 6-month period of time. So we know that they're working. We can track that through Smart Cop. We gotta get that data transition.
I got you. I was just curious.
Yes, sir.
Something's off there. Second, I know we talked about it before, and I know it's probably not in the realm of this budget, but in the future, are we looking to find a grant to help with Shot Spotter or something like that? Is that kind of in the long-term plan for us? Is that necessary, not necessary?
I don't believe ShotSpotter is necessary in Cayce right now. I think we need to spend our money and our attention and our time on other things, and I'll tell you why. ShotSpotter is a system that detects gunfire. And West Columbia has implemented it. They've been very successful in that. Columbia City, Richland County, they've been very successful in that. And it immediately makes notification from the system that a gunfire, and they can actually pinpoint the location. It's not to say that it wouldn't benefit us. It's to say that there's other resources that we need to be committed to. And quite honestly, it goes, and I'm going to jinx ourselves, but it goes to our crime stats. It was horrible. We had 2 homicides last year. And that's horrible. That 1 homicide's too many. But our crime numbers are low. And so it took West Columbia, I think it was 48 or 49,000 to implement their smart Shot Spotter. I don't think it's money that we should spend right now. I think we should do something else with that funding. If you're giving me 49,000, I'm all over it. We can find something else. Just don't think we need it right now. And as soon as I said it, I'm going to jinx us.
Well, I appreciate it. I've heard plenty about it and didn't know if that's something we've been considering or not.
We've got a big ticket item that we've got to look at, which is our in-car radios. They're going to have to be replaced. If we don't do it this year, we do it next year. We talked about it as administration. We talked about shifting that responsibility to next budget year so we could focus on salaries this year and continue to pursue grants. But there's some other things that we need that are really more pressing, in my opinion.
Thank you.
I just want to say thanks. I mean, the crime stats are amazing, and I feel safe. I hear that from citizens regularly. I see your team out there around the city. I mean, y'all are amazing.
Thank you.
We're thankful for all those, that one slide that you can't even read because it's so small, because there's so many great new initiatives and projects that are proactive, getting the social workers.
Yes.
Working with neighboring departments, all that collaboration, all that proactive work, it's definitely something that's phenomenal.
Social workers did 147 contacts of incidents that they could help with from October to March. So that's 147 incidents where our officers went. Hopefully they didn't have to go back to again. So we're seeing some of that. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Just to wrap up, love being here, love having you guys here, talk through the budget a little bit. Basically the wrap up, April 28th, we have to have our purchasers rates are due. In May, staff working with council, budget, so we'll be continuously meeting with y'all. June 4th, expect a first reading, and June 26th, need to have the second reading, and July 1st, we implement, so. Thank you. Thank you.
Good job.
All right, then I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Call the question.
Councilmember Thomas,
Yes.
Councilmember Socks?
Yes.
Councilmember Carter?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes, thank you so much.